Sometimes it can be just a sheet of glass that separates you from these creatures lurking just outside your windows where they sit, peek, and try to listen to you. I hope you enjoyed this one.
Hello, everyone. I have a encounter that I found that I would really like to share with you guys. This encounter, when I found it, it really kind of blew my mind, and we'll get into that in just a second. Boy, last night's boots on the ground, which, yeah, this night I'm still up. I've been working. Man, that place was not a good place, was it? That place was very active. Are we going to go back there? I don't know yet, guys. I really don't. We may take a while before we go back there. That was crazy. Um, yeah, it was a crazy place. It was right before a front too. We're supposed to get some rain tomorrow, so I'll be doing some probably wide open adventures videos tomorrow. But man, I just could not believe, what went on tonight. It blew my mind. And then I found this, and I was like, well, I got to share this with you guys because this one right here is just straight crazy. It's a incident that happened uh, October 23rd, 1650, in the village of Ashwood, England. Now, this one here is one of those scary ones because on the night of the 22nd, I'm reading the report here, at approximately 0200 hours, a child abduction occurred in the village of Ashwood. We're just going to call the child Emily. A 7-year-old female was taken from her bedchamber by an unknown entity. That's in the report, guys. That you don't hardly ever see that in a regular report. The parents, Thomas and Abigail, reported that Emily was asleep in her bed when they retired for the night. However, upon waking at dawn, they found their daughter was missing. The window of the bedchamber was discovered open, with signs of forced entry and exit. Shards of glass were found on the sill and the surrounding ground. Villagers had reported hearing strange noises during the night, including scratching sounds on the house of Emily's. They could hear scratching on the wall, and they could hear a child's faint cry at around approximately 02:15 hours. For those of you not familiar with military time, that is at 2:15 in the morning. 0000 hours is pretty self-explanatory, but a lot of people don't know, and I didn't know until I went to work doing what I was doing, that military time is something that they want you to use. So that's how these reports will be written also. Upon investigation, the constable that they had doing this observed unusual tracks near their cottage. The tracks appeared to be those of a large animal, possibly lupin in nature, but with distinct anomalies. The prints were deeper and more defined than those of a typical wolf, suggesting a creature of unusual strength and size. Now, they reported they've never seen tracks as large as what they seen outside of Emily's window. Also, the depth of the prints of how far they sunk in the mud did not match any known wolf that was in the area or has ever been in that area, guys. We're talking a large creature that no one has seen at the window of this child's home. The child is now missing. Villagers reported they heard something scratching or tearing on the house. So, did it smell the child inside of the home? And was it trying to claw through the sides of the walls before it found the window? Like the Palmyra, Maine video, guys. Look what happened there. It was scratching on their sides of their house, trying to tear through their walls, peeking through the windows. Remember, they said it actually put its hands up and was trying to look in their windows, but the little sheet they had up was the only thing protecting them from God only knows what was looking in at them. So whatever was after this child, I would say, was very intent on taking the child. It surely wasn't trying to be quiet if it was tearing on the house so hard that the neighbors heard it. It shattered the glass, right? And they heard the child crying, so it had to have woke the child. This thing was on a mission, in my opinion. The search party, consisting of the constable and a few of the townspeople and the local woodsmen and several villagers, combed the woods and surrounding areas. Approximately 3 miles from the Wilsons' cottage, in a creek bed near an old oak tree, the body of Emily was discovered. The child's body was found in a state of partial consumption, with severe lacerations and bite marks evident on the remains. Now, if y'all remember, a lot of these cases that I investigated in the very beginning, and if you're an OG of the channel, you're going to remember this. There was a child that went also missing that was found on a creek, remember, shoved underneath a tree that they found, that they was later told by, allegedly, the men in black not to talk about it, just to say that the child drowned. That guy later came forward to me, if you remember, and we spoke about it, and he told the complete story. Why is water so important to these creatures? I think it's more than just drinking it, guys. There's got to be something else there, because it took the child to this riverbed. Is it for the ability to hide there? Because I know that if you go down in a riverbed, you're harder to find. You know, you have the security of the riverbank on both sides. Something can't just straight line see you. Is that why it went there to, from what the report says, consume the child? Now we know that by reading the report here that the full child was not consumed. Just the organs mainly were missing from the child. Same old, same old. I mean, these creatures, for people to say that these creatures are not the same, it baffles me, because, man, you go all the way back to Scott Carpenter. You go back to what Travis Carpenter are teaching, and not just teaching from, I mean, these two guys are not just doing it from opinions. They are doing it on tangible, proven evidence from a lab. Okay? We know what the mother is, but we don't know what the father is, right? All these creatures all around the world, it doesn't matter if it's in the United States, if it's in Asia, if it's in Australia, right? They have the same MO. They all are connected. These things are connected. They're not our friend. And, you know, you can even go on and you can argue and say, well, some of them are good. Okay, so let's take that road and let's say that some of them are good. Well, we know that some of them may possibly have good intentions because they were wanting to be forgiven, right? We know that some of the Nephilim wanted forgiveness. You know, Jesus said, no, not their generation nor any generation from them. Okay. Jesus knows everything. You know, I'm a Christian. Jesus knows everything. He had a reason for that. They're an abomination. Okay. So there you go, right? You know, they, in my opinion, cannot be nothing good. I mean, if Jesus says they're not good, then me as a Christian, I have to say they're not good. Now, I'm not saying that everybody should believe the way I believe, because I know people believe differently. And that's great, because that's how we find answers to everything. You know, my channel is a safe place for you guys to talk. It's always been a safe place. We're not going to judge you. I'm open to all opinions, and you may change my opinion. And if you do, and you're correct, that would be great, because I want to learn also. I'm not a teacher, guys. I'm an investigator. I'm trying to learn just like all of you guys. You guys are just like a network of people that bring information to me. We're all working together. Or anyways, that's how I try to look at it. So the creek bed in the report was trampled, and large paw prints were found in the mud, matching the unusual tracks observed at Emily's window at the cottage. The prints suggested that the creature had approached the creek from the north following the stream's path. Further investigation revealed that the creature had likely dragged Emily's body downstream, using the creek bed as a means of concealment. There you go. That's what I was thinking up above, is the possibility of concealment. I hadn't even read that part. So, makes sense to me. I mean, I already speculated that, so I mean, I'm not going to argue it because that's exactly what I thought. The villagers were in a state of panic as they reported in their report, and rumors of a werewolf are now spreading. That was part of the concern, that they was afraid now, because now people are automatically spreading around the village. Oh my God, we got a werewolf! We got a werewolf! Now, the figure was seen by a gentleman by the name of Mr. Brown, and the description of the creature in the woods of multiple occasions. Brown described the figure as being around 7 foot tall with eyes that glowed like embers in the dark. He reported this to the constables on several different occasions. They also said that they believed that he may have been drinking when he made the reports, and they did not take him serious. Every time, though, that he made these reports on several different occasions, these are months apart, guys, not like days or hours, the constables even admitted that his stories never changed, had the same pattern and the same description. A creature that was brown, that was 7 foot tall, with eyes that glowed like ambers. They said his story never changed. As the sun began to set, the villagers gathered around the creek bed, whispering among themselves and casting fearful glances into the woods. The constable, determined to bring the perpetrator to justice, vowed to continue the investigation, despite their growing fears and superstitions. So, the superstitions in town were getting to a point to where people were hawking their personal values, right? People were selling their rings, their mom's necklaces, their dining ware, things that were passed down to make silver bullets, to make silver daggers. People were terrified that there was a werewolf in the town. So the local blacksmith reported also that his livestock had gone missing in the past week. He found strange marks on the remaining animals. The marks are similar to those found on Emily's body. Reed described the marks as being like teeth, but larger and more jagged. The investigation is ongoing. The constable and his team are working tirelessly to uncover the truth behind Emily's abduction and murder. The villagers are advised to remain indoors after sundown and watch as the organization patrol the village and surrounding woods. So, again, guys, whenever I go back and I look back to my investigations before I got into just telling people's encounters on actual investigations, there are so many similarities that you see in a lot of these reports. And it doesn't matter, like I said, if they're here or if they're overseas or Australia, it doesn't matter. There was a lady in Oklahoma, and her daughter went to the backyard, just from the garage to the backyard, to feed the dogs. And within that matter of time, something was able to bite her over the shoulder that went down past her shoulder blades in the back and down past almost her ribs at the front. She described seeing something run off bipedal with a bushy tail into the woods. I covered that a while back. Now, the mom, of course, took the daughter to the hospital because she was hurt really bad. The animal that had bit her daughter, they could not identify it because it had too many teeth to be any known land animal. They couldn't describe it. The closest that the doctor described it as being was a shark bite. After that had happened, she wasn't allowed to see her daughter. Her daughter was interviewed by these special people that came in, and her daughter later said that it was a coyote. The doctor disagreed because the doctor that done the forensics said, no, it's not a coyote. The bite marks determined that it's not a coyote. Imagine how large the mouth had to be to bite that big and to have that many teeth. But anyways, the mother knew that this was not an animal, right, that we know of. So she went around her community. She lived in a community with a cul-de-sac, and she was telling everybody, hey, watch your kids. There's something running around. We don't know what it is. Here's the doctor's report. This is what the doctor said, a professional. And guess what? She states that the police show up at her house and they tell her that if she does not stop going around telling people that they're going to arrest her for inciting fear. So now she's not even allowed to go around and warn people of a creature that's running around in the neighborhood that a doctor has said he has no idea what it is because it doesn't match any known land animal. The game wardens that got involved, she stated, also said they had no idea what had happened to her, what had bit her. But the little girl's first initial forensic interview, she said it was running on two legs, it had a bushy tail, and it looked like a large wolf. It's a werewolf, right? Dog man. But anyways. So frustrating. As the night wears on, the villagers huddled together. They were scared. This is a report. The villagers are huddling together, and we know this cannot be good for our community. Fearful of the darkness and the unknown creature that stalks the woods. That's a report, guys. Listen to this. Fearful of the darkness and the unknown creature that stalks the woods. It's almost like they want to tell you, isn't it? The moon casts eerie shadows on the trees. And I'll admit, the constable says, it is an eerie atmosphere. The wind whispers unsettling through the trees. And I even have trouble sleeping at night sometimes as I hear the weird howls that come from the woods that I've not even ever heard, not even as a child. So the constable's trying to tell us right here that there's something going on that's out of the ordinary. He hasn't even heard it. Nobody's heard it. They're hearing these things, right? But people always want to ignore the obvious, right? Because nobody wants to admit there's a werewolf or a dog man or a creature or a supernatural entity or a fallen angel that may have created this, or, some monster or some beast that we've never seen that's come from under the ground or out of a cave or fell from the sky or God knows where, crawled out of a well. As the night wears on, the villagers continue to be afraid. So these people are really shooken up. Then he states further evidence was collected from the crime scene, including a piece of torn fabric caught in a bush near the creek bed. The fabric appears to match the material of Emily's nightdress. It's unclear at this time whether the fabric was torn during the abduction or during the attack. Evil. The investigation will continue with Constable Jameson and his team working to identify the creature and prevent further attacks. The village of Ashwood remains on high alert and the people are gripped with fear. But I am now told that I must give a statement and tell the people that they are not in immediate danger, but to be careful between sunup, sundown, and to stay indoors at night. How many times have we heard that? Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see. There's nothing here. It's been took care of, but you better lock your doors at night and you better not go outside. Come on. As the investigation unfolds, the constable has become increasingly convinced that the creature is not of this world. The constable that made that report has now been terminated for inciting fear. Because what did he do? He told the truth, in my opinion. He told the truth. He said it right there in his report. The ferocity of the attacks all point to a creature unlike any known to man. The constable remained determined to find the truth after he was unemployed. The case now remains open and the people of Ashwood await the outcome of the investigation. A fearful and dark creature that lurks within. Then they change it right here. This is what pisses me off. So they fire the constables that's telling the truth, and now this is what they say. Although an unknown animal or person abducted Emily and may have consumed part of her, or the wildlife may have done it after she was taken, we urge everybody to report all unknown noises, creatures, or animals that you may see or hear to the constables That way it can be investigated. But we assure you that if you stay indoors in the late evening, early mornings, you don't go outside at night, you should be fine. After this had happened, years after this incident, people reported seeing a werewolf in the countryside. Numerous reports were made. That region has still remained very high in reports of dogman and werewolf activity. No doubt something is up there. No doubt something happened. And no doubt in my mind something was covered up, in my opinion. That's what happens, guys, in these reports. That's what they do. They cover it up. Because if they admit there's a werewolf, imagine the liability across the world, the state parks, the national parks, all the people that's been attacked. And if they were to admit that they knew they existed, then they would be liable for it, because they would be telling us to go into the parks and have a fun time whenever we were on the menu, right? Or are we on the menu? Are they allowed so many a year? Is there a contract? Is there a line? Do they get so many for a certain amount of knowledge? I don't know. You tell me. With everything going on in the world, I wouldn't be surprised. Thank you for listening, guys. I appreciate your support. Keep your head on a swivel, and as always, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. And remember, you're not always at the top of the food chain when you're out in the woods, and you're always being watched. I guarantee you that. It may not be by a cryptid, but something's watching you. We'll see you on the next one, guys.